From the toys that bring a smile to children's faces to the mobile phone that helps us keep in touch. From the cosmetics that make us look and feel beautiful to the paints that make our homes look special. Consumer products touch all aspects of our lives every single day. Every day, new products fly from factories to store shelves across India, and every day, consumers across India buy millions of products.
As the market expands at a very fast rate and everyone is eyeing to get a share of this market, it's quite likely that people would put in products which may be compliant, may not be fully compliant, which may require further work. So that's the space that we are speaking about, consumer products and their safety.
We can never overemphasize the importance of consumer products in our lives. But how much do we know about them? How are they made? What they are made of? How they are packaged? How sustainable are the products? And are they based on green chemistry?
Do we know that consumer products cause roughly 60% of greenhouse emissions across the world and are responsible for almost 2/3 of the world's deforestation? So when we're talking about safer consumer products, what exactly do we mean? We are talking about products that are safe to be used and consumed by you and me, that do not cause any harm when they're being used. But one more fundamentally important part of safer consumer products is how these products are being manufactured, how they're being consumed, and how they're actually getting out there into the environment. And that impact on the environment is something that is very, very critical and needs to be considered from a safer consumer product standpoint.
We almost take it for granted that most consumer products in the market have been manufactured keeping in mind the highest quality standards. But that is not always the case. When we buy a consumer product, we need to keep in mind the whole life cycle of the product and its effects.
It is a whole life cycle of the products, from how you source material, how you use material, how you use the products, and how you dispose of the products. And if they have toxin materials, they will have a downside impact on your processes of waste management, and they will impact your water, soil, and air.
It is important for us to understand that there could be harmful effects of some of the chemicals that are used in consumer products. So it's important for the entire community to come together.
Most often, consumers like you and me are unaware of the lurking danger in many of the products we buy. The dangers can range from faulty design features such as small parts in toys to the use of harmful substances in the manufacturing of products. According to a report conducted in 2013, 62% Indian consumers believe that manufacturers value sales over product safety. Meanwhile, Indian manufacturers rank product safety at number 6 as an improvement priority, and consumers rank it at number 2. Toys aren't just fun and games, they are also crucial to a child's development. But these small, harmless-looking things that bring such joy to our children can also cause them harm.
When I'm buying a toy for my child, I may, for example, go to a Mela and pick up a 20 rupee toy. I usually will look for only physical attributes of safety for this toy. Chances are that the kid will still put the toy in its mouth. And therefore, I have to care about the chemical safety and the chemical composition of this toy as well.
We tasted a lot of toys across this country. We did it in Mumbai, Chennai, and Delhi, and we picked up toys of various makes. And we found that many of these toys have very high levels of heavy metals in it. We especially tested them for lead and cadmium, and both are heavy metals, and they have very long-term impacts on children. Some of these impacts on health are absolutely irreversible. It leads to a learning disability in children, which has got a huge long-term impact on the child. While the impact may not be seen immediately when the child is just maybe playing with the toys or something, but as you grow up, then you will see these kind of impacts manifest itself in different forms. Even if you look at plastics, which some of the toys could be made of plastics, and you find today that there are phthalates which are used in plastic. That's another chemical which can have serious and long-term impact on the child's growth.
For India, therefore, it's important that no matter where this toy is sold, we have to have a mandatory set of regulations, because frankly, looking at the testing costs of these toys as well, it usually costs anything less than 0.1% of the cost of the toy. So by putting it through any kind of mandatory testing procedure, we are not really going to make this toy overly expensive.
In order to ensure safe fun for toddlers, toy manufacturers in India have embarked on a green drive by initiating a recycling process and the use of non-toxic raw materials.
Manufacturers should be utmost careful about the safety of the toys, because the toys are something like eatable. The child can eat, child can chew it. So all the toys should be conforming to the utmost safety standards. Fun School is in the toy manufacturing for the last 3 decades. Over a period of time, we adopted all international safety standards. All the safety standards take care of safety of the toy, as well as the safety of the chemicals that is used, and safety of all the raw materials used in the toy. So we ensure that all our products are safe for the children. Now, to illustrate an example, the Play-Doh or the Fun Dough, what we manufacture, it is a dough, and this dough normally it is for the children, and the children, all probability they can eat it also. And we mentioned that it is safe for the child if it eats, because all the dyes what we use is tested, all the raw material what we use is tested. We use only distilled water.
From the paints in toys to the paints used in your house, they are among the leading causes of indoor air pollution, which is rated among the top 5 hazards to human health.
Whether it's going to a new house or a school, new furniture, even new cars. I think when all of us get into some of these newer surroundings, many of us face a lot of respiratory problems, whether it's headaches or dizziness or some kind of nausea. Obviously, there is some kind of an irritant which is causing these kind of issues.
Paints and finishes release low-level toxic emissions into the air for years after application. The source of these toxins is a variety of volatile organic compounds, which until recently were essential to the performance of the paint.
We all are aware of lead as a poisonous substance which is banned around the world for usage, for example, in paint. In India, it is not banned. In fact, there was a survey conducted last year where 31% of household paints which are sold in India have more than 10,000 parts per million of lead content in it, whereas the BIS standard, which is an Indian standard, says that the number should be only 90.
They might look trendy, stylish, and fashionable, but even the clothes that you wear or buy could be contaminated with chemicals harmful for your body.
The clothes that we wear every day are treated with chemicals before they are ready for usage at our level. For example, we look at wrinkle-free clothing or clothing which have a permanent crease on them, which do not go away despite several washes or ironing. How does that happen? That happens because there are chemicals already put into the fabric which has gone deep in to ensure that that property stays. What you have to look for as a common consumer is what are these chemicals which are going in to ensure that such chemicals, when they come in touch with you on your skin, they are not causing any harmful effects.
Sometimes we get a feeling that we are sacrificing our health in the name of fashion. As you know that it's a $7 trillion industry globally and uses more than 8,000 different chemicals, and we never know which chemical is going to affect our health. So that's why the role of third-party inspection and testing laboratories comes into place, and we ensure that the products you use normally are chemical and safe to use.
Lots of consumer products that surround us are active sources of toxic chemicals that can wreak havoc on human health besides damaging the environment. And it's time we put a stop to them. A rapid growth in consumerism is symbolic of a healthy economy. robust purchasing power is also fueling an increased consumption of toxic substances that have become an accepted part of everyday life. The preoccupation with looking good has fueled the staggering growth of the Indian beauty industry. A KPMG Wellness Sector report released in April 2014 projected that the size of India's beauty and wellness market would nearly double from over 40,000 crore rupees in 2012-13 to over 80,000 crore rupees by 2017-18. Like any booming market, the beauty industry also brings a host of regulatory concerns.
We use cosmetics every day. What we generally worry about when using cosmetics is what kind of skin allergies, what kind of rashes, what happens when I use the cosmetic on me. But the question is, what kind of practices were involved in manufacturing of this cosmetic? Were they environmentally friendly? What kind of chemicals were they used? Many of us may not know, but the chemicals that are used in the manufacturing of these cosmetics sometimes are so harmful that they can cause cancer when ingested. That's something as consumers we need to be very aware of.
India's Centre for Science and Environment found heavy metals in about 50% of cosmetics in India. 73 cosmetic products were tested both from Indian and international brands, and the results of the investigation were horrifying. 32 fairness or skin whitening creams tested positive for mercury, and 30 lipsticks, 8 lip balms and 3 anti-aging creams contained lead, cadmium, chromium and nickel, substances that can cause permanent damage to your skin.
These are substances that should not come in touch or contact with the human skin, because they can cause significant harmful effects, not just in the short term, but also in the long term. What we need in India, therefore, are standards which ensure that a common minimum standard is available for the entire cosmetic industry to comply with.
Common minimum standards. How can we achieve such standards, one may ask? From performance testing and usability to non-clinical testing, consumer products should pass standard tests of validation, only then be put on shelves to be consumed by us.
What we do at labs like these are basically test the products for a minimum quality level, and that's something that is happening in the regulatory scene all over the world. Whether they're being manufactured in China or in Japan or in the US or in India, expect to have a basic minimum quality level in terms of their performance and in terms of their safety.
Last year, UL did a survey of consumers in India and actually around the world. What we found in India was 53% of the concern of the common consumer with regards to chemicals in consumer products is regards to only two specific things. One is skin irritation. How does your skin react immediately when you apply that cosmetic or use that soap? Or second is a long-term effect of this. The other concern that came out, 69% of our respondents actually said, or they did not believe that there was any proper testing done from a product safety perspective before these consumer products were released in the market. 73% of the respondents were convinced that these products were never tested for being environmentally friendly or not.
How can we ensure that each consumer product that touches our lives is safe, sustainable, and of standard quality? The answer is awareness. Awareness will help create a mindset, and the mindset will ensure that the next time you buy a consumer product, you check for standardization and you ask for certified and safe products.
One is, do all products that we consume have standards for chemicals? That's the first thing. Point number two, if the standards are there, are they being complied with? Who is monitoring? Who is regulating it? Point number 3, even if the standards are there, do people know about it? Do people understand those standards? And point number 4 is how good is the kind of labeling that is there, and how informed is our citizens when they are consuming these products.
It's important for the entire community to come together, the manufacturers, the consumers, consumer awareness groups, regulators, to create requirements, standards, regulation, and at the end of the day ensuring that consumers actually get safer products in their hands. And this can only be built by a lot of consumer awareness, by setting high standards for ourselves and ensuring that those standards are adhered to.
The demand for safety has to start with you as a common consumer, because only when you demand safer products will then the manufacturers and the retailers ensure that quality and safe products are sold to you. That creates a positive ecosystem in which the quality and the safety of the products that are coming to the market on an everyday basis and even manufactured in India on an everyday basis actually improves. For example, back in 2012, report about the toxins which are existing in the common everyday clothing which are sold globally by several retailers. It led to a movement where all the retailers came together to ensure that by a certain timeline they will eliminate all these toxins away from all the clothes that they are selling globally.
There are hundreds of items that we come into contact with every day. We cannot check and verify the composition of each of these products, but we have to make a start. Maybe one product a day, and soon each of those hundreds of items will become standardized and safer.
So the need of the hour is actually twofold. On one side, we have to build consumer awareness. The awareness really creates the pull. The push has to come from the government by making certain toxic chemicals and compounds which are used in these consumer products have to be declared mandatorily, have to be tested, and creating not just an environment where it needs testing and declaration, but also clearly identify ways that these chemicals which are already present in our system today either reduce or eliminate them over a period of time.
It's all about safety first for consumers, and for that we must demand standards that help us lead a healthy life today and tomorrow. Join us to raise a voice as India demands safety standards. Next week on UL Presents, India Demands Safety Standards, the experts discuss safer consumer products for safer India. If you have a story, opinion or suggestion for us, please visit www.safetystandards.com.